Hello, and thank you for watching this ag forecast for the Corn Belt. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, a quick check of the satellite picture here on Friday morning. A happy Friday to you. A lot of people waking up to some sunny skies across the Corn Belt, from the Central Plains of Nebraska and Kansas eastward into the Midwest and the Eastern Corn Belt here through Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. Sunny skies to start off the weekend. Some cloud cover across the north in the Dakotas into Minnesota, Wisconsin, and lower Michigan. And then we've got some fog here with some low-level moisture across parts of far southern Illinois, maybe across parts of western Kentucky and Tennessee down into the south as well, dealing with some of that residual low-level moisture left behind by Tropical Storm Beta as it exits via the mid-Atlantic. You can see all the rainfall again. Here is Beta. We've got some light showers across North Dakota into northern Minnesota this morning. But again, it's been relatively dry as you go from the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles all the way into the eastern Corn Belt over the last 7 days. Just some light showers at times making their way through parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin over the last 36 to 48 hours with some of these moisture-starved fronts that have been otherwise unable to bring precipitation into the Midwest, into the mid-Mississippi Valley or the eastern Corn Belt. Now we have a big change coming, one that's going to bring some rainfall to that part of the country here, the mid-Mississippi Valley into the eastern part of the Corn Belt. It's also going to bring some cooler air in there as we go from a pattern that features a big core of jet stream winds, a strong Pacific jet extension making its way to the Pacific Northwest right now. We're going to see several waves coming ashore, and that's going to lead us to a pattern here that becomes very amplified with a trough over the Aleutian Islands, a ridge now over the western U.S., and then another trough across the Great Lakes into the central part of the country. So as we head into mid to late next week, we're going to be forcing a lot of warmth northward across the west coast, reintroducing a fire weather risk in that area, but then bringing a lot of cooler temperatures down into the midsection of the country. So we'll see a big reset with our temperatures across the Corn Belt after we see a period of warmth here through the weekend. Again, painting a stripe of precipitation from eastern Kansas and Oklahoma through the mid-Mississippi Valley across the eastern Corn Belt and then into the Great Lakes as we head into the end of the weekend and early next week. This is how it happens. Again, I mentioned several waves coming over the top of this ridge across the west, and we get the first wave here on this afternoon and evening. This one brings a threat for some strong storms to parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin. Another wave right on its heels brings a renewed chance for strong storms to parts of Wisconsin as we go through the afternoon hours tomorrow. We then see this little piece digging in across the Rockies as we head through Sunday night into Monday, and this is the one that now almost looks like it wants to cut off across the southern U.S. from the European. This is the latest run from last night, and we're seeing something similar advertised here is what we saw across the western half of the country about 2 weeks ago when we saw that big cutoff low bring a bunch of cold air down into the region and then just get left behind by the next wave that comes around here with a very strong Pacific jet. Right now, the European model has it kind of cut off here for about 36 hours before it gets picked right back up Wednesday night into Thursday and then lifts across the northeast region here and exiting stage right. So I've been talking a lot about the moisture depth across the area, showing this precipitable water plot, because we've seen much of the deeper moisture trapped across the Gulf of Mexico south of the lower 48, not making its way, not advecting northward into these storm systems. And that was first because of some of our big sweeping cold fronts that brought some cooler and drier air into the Midwest. But then it's also been a result of Tropical Storm Beta just kind of hanging out and meandering across the Gulf Coast, wrapping that deeper moisture around its center, not allowing it again to advect northward. Now, again, that's going to be really the case, and why I think we'll see maybe a slightly lower severe weather risk across Wisconsin and the UP of Michigan today than we might otherwise. I think there's going to be some capping concerns up here again that maybe keep a lid on things for the better part of the afternoon and evening. We'll see what happens tomorrow afternoon. We see that next little shot at strong storms across Minnesota and Wisconsin once again. But again, you see the gap here, the very deep moisture down here across the Gulf of Mexico. Then you've got really dry air right here across the midsection of the country. So as these storm systems come in, I'm going to do some drawing now. You've got your area of low pressure, you got your warm front. This is your sector that you're trying to destabilize. You want to be drawing warm and humid air in there, and instead you're not doing that. You're drawing dry air into the region. So you got some Pacific moisture coming with it from the Pacific Ocean, but we're not advecting a warm and buoyant air mass in place or in advance of that storm system. So again, very dynamic, very strong upper level jet stream winds, may be enough to squeeze out a couple strong storms as we see advertised by the high-resolution NAM model as we get into the afternoon hours and the evening today. This would be 6 p.m., and again, we're talking way up here north of Interstate 94, Interstate 90 across northern Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, maybe a few strong storms producing some gusty winds, and honestly a tornado or two possible up there as well this afternoon and evening. We'll see things quiet down, some showers moving across the Dakotas into northern Minnesota tomorrow morning, before again we see a renewed chance of some strong storms developing across the northern half of Wisconsin and maybe northeastern Minnesota on Saturday afternoon and evening. There it is right there. Now, as we head into Sunday, we start to draw a little bit more moisture northward from the Gulf of Mexico, and so we're going to start to increase those rain chances across the midsection of the U.S. South Dakota and Nebraska into western Iowa, seeing some rain Saturday night into Sunday morning. And then by Sunday afternoon, we're going to start to light up the frontal boundary here across parts of Kansas, northern Missouri, Iowa, northern Illinois, and then on into Wisconsin and the Great Lakes. This is our thunderstorm index here, looking at the environment Friday afternoon, evening on the left, and then tomorrow afternoon and evening, Saturday on the right. And again, picking up on a volatile air mass there across the region that would be favorable for some strong storms if they can develop. But again, with that dry air in place, being advected in place or into the region, in some capping, again, some warm air in the mid-levels of the atmosphere might keep a lid on things. So if storms can develop across parts of eastern Minnesota and northern Wisconsin today, they could be rather intense into the evening. Same thing tomorrow afternoon and evening, but I think storm coverage will be relatively low. As we go ahead and look at the European model, we'll take it into next week. Here's that threat for a couple strong storms well to the north today across the north woods of Wisconsin into the UP of Michigan. Same exact spot tomorrow afternoon, the threat for some strong storms forming there with that next wave. We'll start to bring things further to the south as we head into Sunday, again, across South Dakota, Nebraska, into Iowa on Sunday morning, and then becoming more widespread along that frontal boundary from eastern Kansas into Lake Michigan, the Great Lakes, on Sunday evening. This is where that frontal boundary will be then Sunday around 7 p.m. We'll take it into the overnight, watching that rain move across Missouri, Illinois, pushing into Indiana as we get into Monday morning. And then this is where the details are going to become a bit sketchy with this new idea that maybe this low gets cut off here across the southern U.S., across eastern Texas, as we get into around Wednesday. This is Wednesday morning that the European now wants to kind of cut things off. We then get a really good fetch, a really good deep pull of moisture from the Gulf of Mexico as this then starts to lift across the northeast. So now we could be talking about a corridor of some heavier rain from the Ohio River Valley into the northeast as we end the week, getting into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So Eric will readdress this on Monday. We'll talk about what kind of model changes we see as we head through the weekend, because there will be some. And we'll have to talk about especially this Wednesday evolution, where does the low get cut off? And then if it does it really get cut off there for a few days, or does it truly lift back across the northeast on Thursday and Friday? If it doesn't lift right away, we really could be talking about some changes to the rainfall forecast across parts of the Mid-South into the Ohio River Valley. As it stands right now, it does look like a pretty good chance for a lot of folks to pick up at least a half an inch from eastern Kansas and Oklahoma, northeastward across Missouri into Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. Again, a lot of that falling, Sunday night into Monday and Tuesday. And then again, as we lift back across the region Thursday and Friday. So here's the European Ensemble's forecast of the probability here of more than a half an inch of rainfall between now and October 2nd. That would be next Friday. The next 7 days, and again, you see plenty of orange and red shading on there from eastern Kansas, eastern Oklahoma, across this region, kind of along and east of that line, where we got at least a 50 to 60% chance, if not a little bit higher there, of picking up that half an inch in rainfall. And so we'll just watch the changes here as we head into next week. It could be windy at times as we head through the weekend, again, as some of these waves make their way across the region. I think Saturday is going to be pretty breezy across parts of the mid-Mississippi Valley with a strong southerly wind coming in, bringing some warmer temperatures. But then as we head into Sunday and Monday, the strong winds will be coming out of the northwest, bringing in a much cooler air mass to the region. We'll finish with a look at those high temperatures then. Again, warmth across the region as we get started with the weekend. It should be a beautiful day from the Central Plains into the Eastern Corn Belt. Maybe a little on the hot side there. Goodland coming in with a forecast high of 101 degrees today, but plenty of sunshine, so it's a sunny, hot day across the region. Again, 80s and 90s on Saturday. Lots of sunshine across this region. Great harvest weather if you're out there doing that before cooler, cloudier, and potentially rainier air makes its way in as we get into next week. This will likely slow things down as far as harvest goes as we roll on into next week. Here are your highs on Monday, Tuesday, and then I took it all the way out to Wednesday, an extra day in here. Look at those highs in the 50s across a big chunk of the country. We'll talk about the frost risk here as we get into next week as well. It looks like the frost risk might be a little bit delayed there, maybe higher as we get into Thursday and Friday of next week. The good news here is it looks like more of a cool, cloudy, rainy air mass, which is maybe not quite as conducive as frost making its way well to the south. But again, that's just something we're going to have to talk about as we get into Monday. Just note that this cooler air mass is out there and it will be arriving as we transition from Sunday into Monday. Have a great day, a wonderful weekend. I will talk to you again on Tuesday, but you'll find Eric with the Ag Forecast video on Monday morning.